Well, welcome to EFTM. Today, let's cut through all the rumours, cut through all the leaks, cut through all the BS about the next iPhone, and let's talk about what could be the next iPhone. Okay, let's cut through all the BS. So there's a lot of rumours, a lot of leaks, a lot of images, a lot of renders, which is people's own drawings of what the next iPhone might look like. And let's be clear, there's only actually been a couple of actual leaks, and we don't even know if they're true until September, October, when the iPhone is announced. So the next iPhone is going to be big. We know that it's going to be different because it's the 10th anniversary. And also, Apple's up against it. The next Samsung, well, the last Samsung device, the last LG device, all have a radically different screen. So Apple really need to catch up a bit here. So let's talk about what is out there in the market. Now, what I've got here is a mock-up. This is not the next iPhone. Not at all. But it's what someone believes the next iPhone will look like. So it's based on all of the rumors that have been out there. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about the screen. So what you see here is a screen that goes from absolute top to absolute bottom, and there's this notch at the top. You're going to hear a lot about this notch if this is true. This is where your cameras, your infrared sensors, and your speaker is. And what will happen in the top left and top right of this notch will be your Wi-Fi, your mobile signal, and your battery and things like that, while everything else will be below that. Now, critically, there's no home button here. And if you compare that to an obvious previous iPhone, well, there's a home button, and that's a critical part of the whole device. So it'll be very interesting to see how they manage that. Now, one of the leaks, and I thought it was one of the best leaks, was looked like a CAD drawing of the next iPhone, and it was kind of the outer shell, and it had a hole on the back. Now, there's no hole on the back of this. There's no space for a fingerprint reader, which is one of the reasons why I think this is just possibly a BS device. But the reason this exists, this mock-up that I've got here, which is just a bit of plastic made to look like an iPhone, the reason it exists is because case manufacturers need to be ahead of the curve. They need to try their very best to get hold of the next iPhone and try and make cases in readiness for what will come. So there's a level of certainty around this device, but there's absolutely no guarantees of what Apple will announce. So let me tell you what I think Apple will announce. I think Apple will announce 3 phones. I think they will announce a follow-up to these, the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. They'll announce a follow-up, an iPhone 7S and an iPhone 7S Plus. The iPhone 7 Plus will probably feature a dual camera in this kind of upright fashion that we're seeing in the mock-up. And the iPhone 7S Plus and 7S will feature, faster processor, better imaging, all those different things. Likely though, they might also have a different back. They may have a glass back and may have wireless charging, but it's also possible that all of those radical new features like wireless charging will be left to the iPhone Pro, iPhone X, iPhone Edition. That's what I think you're going to get, is a completely separate device. So this will probably be at a next level. So this phone sits almost exactly in between the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus in size. So what you'll have is a 7S, 7S Plus, which will be your standard contract rates. And then this puppy, the special edition 10th anniversary iPhone, which I'm prepared to bet a lot on, will not be called the iPhone 8. It just won't be. So call it the iPhone Edition, call it the iPhone X, more likely the iPhone Pro, call it the iPhone Pro, and that's going to come at a fairly high retail price because there's a couple of difficult manufacturing processes here, and that's going to mean it's going to be hard to build. It'll be in the most demand, and you are going to have more queues around more blocks of Apple stores than you've ever seen before because of this or a device quite like this. This is just a mock-up. This is just something that some bloke in Shenzhen has built in his little factory, and he's probably made a few $1,000s selling them to case manufacturers around the world so that they can start building cases. But this is not the next iPhone. The next iPhone might look very similar to this. It might have this full screen, and I expect it will. It will likely have this upright vertical camera, but I think the edges will be squarer. I think there will be a fingerprint scanner on the back, if not the Apple logo itself, because I'm not sure Apple can live without Touch ID. So, what do you think will be the next iPhone? What do you think the next iPhone will contain? What do you want to know about the next iPhone? ask me anything, jump into the comments. Let's have a chat about it. Let's see what the world thinks the next iPhone will be. We're not going to have an announcement until somewhere in September. It might be the first week of September, it might be the last week. It'll probably go on sale somewhere in October. The next iPhone is pretty much pausing everyone's thoughts on getting an iPhone today because there's going to be a rush of new iPhones coming out, obviously, later in the year. What do you think about the iPhone? What do you think about this mock-up that's going all around the internet for case manufacturers to build off, and lots of bloggers are getting their hair in knots about this exciting little mock-up? Do you think this is the next iPhone? Tell us on EFTM. Tell us in the comments below.
This is EFTM, everything for the man.